This is every single fight to make after UFC Vegas 44, Font versus Aldo, and I've got all of the key fighters from that card on the screen right now, some winners, some losers, and you may notice there is an empty box next to all of them, and that's where their next opponent's going to go, who I have hidden around the perimeter of the screen, and as this video goes on, I'll reveal their new opponents one by one and place them where they belong on the screen. Let's start straight away with the main event. Rob Font versus Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo was victorious by decision, looked amazing. He's on another amazing run in his career towards the bantamweight title. He failed the first time against Petr Yan, but since this recent run, he's right back up there looking for his title shot. But has he earned a title shot next? I don't know, because the bantamweight division right now is in a very weird situation. You've got Aljamain Sterling versus Petr Yan 2, which is probably going to be happening in February or March of next year. Then you've got TJ Dillashaw, who I'll just reveal right away because I'm feeling this is the next opponent they're going to make against Jose Aldo. But, like, Dillashaw's been promised a title shot. He beat Corey Sandhagen. It was a bit of a weird decision, of course. And they said he was going to get a title shot. And Petr Yan even says if he beats Aljamain Sterling again, he's going to call out TJ Dillashaw. He's already been calling out TJ Dillashaw. He called out TJ Dillashaw for a title defense of his interim belt after beating Corey Sandhagen for it. So I feel like TJ Dillashaw is next for Jose Aldo. I know it doesn't work well for TJ Dillashaw, but TJ Dillashaw is an EPO ingesting cheat, let's not forget. Although one of my favourite fighters to watch, he's a cheater. So, with all respect, fuck Dillashaw's feelings. Let's make Aldo versus Dillashaw in the main event of a fight night, because I'll tell you this. Dillashaw has not fought for a very long time. He's been injured. Of course, Corey Sandhagen has fought Petr Yan in another title fight since that TJ Dillashaw loss that he had. And also, Dillashaw didn't really beat Sandhagen. And people kind of understand that now. When you're watching it live, it was kind of hard to score. But when you watch it back and you see who landed the damaging shots, it was Corey Sandhagen. He won the 5th round, which means he wins the fight. Even though Dillashaw did have a torn ACL, a destroyed eye from the blood pouring into it, and like a long layoff as well, he still did good. But like, I'd like to see more of a definitive performance from TJ Dillashaw, and more of a recent performance from TJ Dillashaw as well, before I give him the title shot at bantamweight. And right now, this works out perfectly. 2 legends, fight night main event, April of next year, March of next year, at the end of March, early April, something like that. Because otherwise, Dillashaw fought Corey Sandhagen many, many months ago, and in best case scenario, here's how things would work out if Dillashaw was not to fight Jose Aldo. Yan beats Sterling in March. Cool. Then he beats Dillashaw in July, and maybe there's a chance Aldo could be the short notice replacement, and that's how you keep him busy. But you're just going to lose all the hype on all of these prospects. That's best case scenario. People get injured in title fights quite a bit. They need time off. They're not fighting every 3 months. That's a very, very active champion. Every 3 months. So, the winner of Aljamain versus Yan 2 fights in March. Best case scenario, they turn around in July, August for another defense. And then we don't see Aldo get a title shot until December. That doesn't make any sense to me. Or we don't see TJ Dillashaw get a title shot until August or July of next year. And I'm not looking to wait that long. So, punish TJ for being a cheat and getting gifted a decision against Corey Sandhagen, and make him fight Jose Aldo in the meantime. Maybe in an April main event, similar time zone, put Petr Yan in the audience, or the winner of Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling 2 in the audience to watch it go down, and the winner will take on the winner of Yan versus Sterling. It makes all the sense in the world. Let's make this fight happen. And plus, I'm sure Dillashaw wants to be a little bit more active before he goes in there against the best bantamweight in the world, Petr Yan. So, good matchup in the bantamweight division. Let's do this matchup right away. I believe this is number 1 and number 2 in the division now, or number 1 and number 2, outside of obviously Yan, the interim champ, and Aljo, the champion. So it's a perfect matchup. Let's get it going. And this is a goated matchup as well. A matchup that I was interested in way back in the day when both of them were champions, or both were in the championship discussion in their both respected divisions. Aldo at 145, Dillashaw at 135. I never thought we'd see this matchup at any point in this lifetime of watching MMA I've had, but now it's here. Let's capitalize on the opportunity and put these 2 legends against each other. Moving on to the loser, though, of the main event, Rob Font. He lost. He had a decent performance, but it wasn't good enough. He got chinned a couple of times in a fight and showed not the best of chins, and that's sort of where he lost this fight. Kept reacting really badly to the shots of Aldo, whereas Aldo wasn't really reacting too badly to the shots of Rob Font most of the time. He did get hit with some good shots, and Font did have a good performance, but he just wasn't getting those big reactions that Aldo got out of him. There was a clear power difference. But Rob Font's going to need an opponent And I know exactly who it's going to be if things go well this weekend. Sugar Sean O'Malley. Because he's already called out Rob Font many times. And I know why he's calling out Rob Font. Because I think he thinks he can beat Rob Font. And you know what? I reckon he could. And I don't think that about many ranked opponents for Sean O'Malley. Like a Merab Dvalishvili, fucking forget about it. Honestly, in a Marlon Vera rematch, I don't really like his chances either, in all honesty, because Vera's been looking really amazing recently. Really tough, really durable, puts on a good pace. But Rob Font is a striker who hasn't got the best of chins, has decent cardio, but nothing too crazy that Sean O'Malley hasn't seen before. I feel like this is a great matchup for Sean O'Malley, and Font is not much of a grappler, and he's more of a boxer, so this is perfect for Sean O'Malley. I feel like this is what they're going to do. Font's going to move down the rankings in the bantamweight division to probably number 6 or 7 in the bantamweight division after this loss. Sean O'Malley's going to get ranked maybe number 14, 13 if he beats Howley and Paver, because of course Howley and Paver technically beat Kyler Phillips, who technically beat Song Yadong, who did beat Song Yadong, so that will put Sean O'Malley quite deep into the teens of the rankings in the bantamweight division. So Sean O'Malley's going to be ranked, Font's going to be ranked number 6 or 7, it's going to be a natural progression of a contender. I can see them making that matchup, and for Rob Font, he needs a little bit of time off. O'Malley has got to get through Paver though, and I'm not doubting Paver. He's a very capable fighter, 21-3 or something like that. He's got a very good record, he's very skilled. I think O'Malley's going to beat him, which is why I've put O'Malley's face here. If O'Malley does beat Paver in this imaginary world where everything goes perfectly, if O'Malley beats Paver, Font should look at that matchup as a golden goose in the bantamweight division. If he can beat Sean O'Malley, he's like one fight away from a title shot again. He gets all of the hype, shuts down the hype of Sean O'Malley, maybe takes on the winner of Marlon Vera versus Merab Dvalishvili for a title shot, or even takes on the winner of, or the loser of Aljamain versus Yan 2 for his title shot. As an older guy in Rob Font, why not get a matchup against a striker who might not be ready for the top dogs yet, and you feel like you are ready for the top dogs because you just competed with Aldo for 5 rounds? If I'm Rob Font and I'm 34 years of age, I'm thinking I ain't got much time if I want to get my hands on that belt. I'll take the quickest route possible, and to bounce back against a huge name in Sean O'Malley will give him all the hype he needs to jump one step forward and get that next fight that will get him that title shot again and get right back in the mix at bantamweight. So, Sean O'Malley beats Howley and Paver in December. Fingers crossed. Hopefully that happens. I believe it will. And if Rob Font takes a bit of time off, comes back in April or May on the McGregor card, we can put Sean O'Malley versus Rob Font on the McGregor card in the feature fight position, and that would be a perfect case scenario. And that's what I think they're going to do. And plus, the UFC knows Rob Font's a perfect matchup for Sean O'Malley. Out of anyone in the rankings, Font is the great matchup for Sean O'Malley. And I do think Sean O'Malley would beat him maybe, because his chin is not the best. I'm not doubting Aldo. I'm just saying it's a great matchup for Sean O'Malley, and I really like his chances. And I know the UFC likes his chances. And I know Sean O'Malley likes his chances as well, which is why he's been calling out Foberont for a long time, which is what he called him. I didn't just mess that up. Either way, co-main event, Rafael Fiziev gets it done against Brad Riddell. Very close fight to begin with, but Rafael Fiziev finds the read, gets the wheel kick KO in the 3rd round. Amazing performance by Rafael Fiziev. He showed a lot of patience, which is something we haven't really seen from him yet in his career. Usually he goes all-out action, going for the destruction mission, search and destroy. First 2 rounds, he's trying to tear your head off. This time he was a little bit more patient, took his time, made his reads, and he showed a much more sophisticated approach to the game from Rafael Fiziev here. A much higher level of fight IQ and patience. So I feel like Rafael Fiziev's next opponent should be, it's not Vince Vaughn, it's Michael Chandler. I know I've said Michael Chandler should take on Conor McGregor, but I want to see Conor McGregor versus Tony Ferguson. And I feel like that's why Tony Ferguson hasn't signed a fight recently, because he's waiting for Conor McGregor. So, Rafael Fiziev versus Michael fucking Chandler. Let's do it. Let's make the fight. I don't need to sell this to you. Chandler's a big name. He'll take on the top dogs. He'll take on up-and-comers. Fiziev's now a big name. I think he's got like 300,000 Instagram followers, and he keeps blowing up every single time he fights, because that promo he had between him and Hasbulla that they made on their channel got him a bunch of followers on his Instagram page. He's now a big name in the UFC. Just got a wheel kick KO. He's going to be ranked number 10 or 11 in the lightweight division. Michael Chandler's ranked somewhere around 6 or 7 in the lightweight division right now, so it makes sense ranking-wise. And it really fucking makes sense style matchup-wise. Let's do a main event of a fight night in April, in May of next year. Rafael Fiziev, Michael Chandler, perfect matchup. Sign me up. It's going to be chaos. Make it a 5-rounder, though, because I want to see if they can go 5 rounds, if it does get into those later rounds, but I don't see it getting into those later rounds. I think it's going to be an absolute barn burner. And Fiziev is not quite big enough to be the main event of a fight night on his own yet, I don't believe. But with Michael Chandler on the other side of the octagon, he is big enough to be in the main event of a fight night, with a very strong co-main event underneath it, of course. But that's what I want to see get made. Rafael Fiziev, Michael Chandler, perfect fucking matchup, and people will be so excited for that. And if Fiziev beats Chandler, which I believe he actually could at this point in his career, a little bit of a turning point, a little bit of a crossroads. Chandler on the way down took some damage, but he still has a good chance of beating the up-and-comers. Fiziev on the way up, getting better and better every fight. Let's make it happen now and see if Fiziev is ready for the top dogs, or see if Chandler can bounce right back and beat a top contender in Rafael Fiziev, and then start looking for his own title elimination bouts in the lightweight division. Perfect matchup, Fiziev versus Chandler. Let's make it happen. Moving on to the loser of the co-main event. Sucks for Brad Riddell. Had a good performance. I thought he edged the first round and he was winning the third round before that wheel kick KO. Had a decent performance. Is in no way done in the lightweight division, although he is 30 years of age. I feel like his next fight should be against Thiago Moises. I reckon Brad Riddell, when the rankings come out on Tuesday, is probably going to get moved out of the rankings or maybe stay at number 15, but then it won't be long before another guy beats a contender outside the rankings and gets put at number 15. So I think by the time Brad Riddell fights again, he probably won't be ranked at lightweight because of the way there's so many contenders on the come up right now. I think Riddell will get shimmied down out of the rankings. Thiago Moises is in the top 20 of the rankings right now in the lightweight division. I think he's number 21 at lightweight right now, and Fiziev or Riddell will probably be ranked around 17 or 18 or 16 or something like that, 15 at best for him. So I think it's a good matchup. Brad Riddell, Thiago Moises. Moises lost to Yoel Alvarez, who's a beast in himself, who's now taken on Arman Sarukian. I know you don't really want to give Moises a jump up here, but he's a good fighter. He's a capable fighter. Let's do him versus Brad Riddell. And mainly the reason I want to make this fight is not because of the matchup. It's not really because of, like, the rankings. Time-wise, Moises just got TKO'd. Riddell just got TKO'd. I feel like a week between each other, or 2 weeks between each other. I think 2 weeks ago is when Moises got finished by Yoel Alvarez, and Riddell just got finished now. So bring them both back, April, May of next year, and make that matchup in the feature fight of a fight night card. Perfect matchup. Could also go on the prelims of a pay-per-view, and I'd really watch that fight between two top contenders in the lightweight division. Let's move on to the feature fight of the card. Jamahal Hill got the KO over Jimmy Crute. Nothing happened early on, but then all of a sudden, Hill catches Crute right behind the head. No fault of his own. Down goes Crute, and then Hill fucking capitalizes with a clean check hook straight on Jimmy Crute's chin, puts him out on the canvas, and finishes him off afterwards, and makes a great call out against Paulo Costa. But Hill's probably going to be ranked number 12 because he's going to be held back by Paul Craig's ranking. The ranking of Paul Craig, I believe, is number 11 right now at light heavyweight, and Jamahal Hill's, he can't jump over Paul Craig. So he's going to be held down in the lower part of the light heavyweight rankings, despite this great win over Jimmy Crute. I don't think they're going to do Paulo Costa versus number 12 or 13. I think they're going to do Paulo Costa versus, if anything, Nikita Krylov at number 9, or Dominic Reyes at number 6 or 7. One of those kind of matchups, or even Anthony Smith, who doesn't have an opponent right now and probably won't have an opponent for the next few months. So, Jamahal Hill should get his other guy that he called out, which is Johnny Walker. A great matchup in the light heavyweight division. Walker, he lost his last fight, but it was really nothing anyway, so it's not like he's coming off a KO loss and he needs to recover and regroup himself. He'll probably be back in there some point early on next year, so let's do March, fight night card, co-main events, Jamahal Hill, Johnny Walker. You could even do this as a card. Rafael Fiziev, Michael Chandler main event, Jamahal Hill, Johnny Walker co-main event, and then the feature fight of, like, Riddell versus Moises, and you've got yourself a card. Done. The rest of the card doesn't even matter. That card's done. So, I don't know if time-wise it's all going to work out that way, but I want to see Jamahal Hill, Johnny Walker. The promo's already there. You can make a promo video on it for your social media pages on UFC pages that they have on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, and stuff like that. So let's make it. He's done the call out. He's done all the hard work of the promo. Let's make that match up. It makes sense as well. Walker coming down, Jamahal Hill going up. You keep one of your prospects that's a big name in the light heavyweight division. Let's make that matchup happen. Moving on to the loser of the feature fight, Jimmy Crute. such potential, but he just cannot get a streak going. Lost to Anthony Smith by perennial nerve kick. Got caught behind the head by Jamahal Hill and then laid out cold afterwards. Jimmy Crute's going to need some time off to recover from that eye that he has. I don't even know how that happened, but his eye is fucking destroyed. But let's do Jimmy Crute versus Devin Clark, who is currently recovering from his surgery on his teeth. I only did this one because Devin Clark's number 21 in the light heavyweight division. Jimmy Crute's probably going to go outside of the rankings here, and new guys that are coming up are going to enter the rankings, like Dawson, Young, and guys like that. And Devin Clark is still reasonably good. He's quite high up the rankings, outside of the rankings in the light heavyweight division, and he's recovering from an injury himself. So he probably won't return until at least April next year or May, and that's when you should bring back Jimmy Crute on the card against Devin Clark and get him back on track maybe, or Devin Clark gets a good win. Still a tough matchup for Jimmy Crute. Let's make that fight happen. Moving on, Clay Guida got a big win against Leonardo Santos, one of the only underdogs I called on the card. Let's do him versus Grant Dawson. Reason being, perfect matchup for both. He just beat Leonardo Santos, who Grant Dawson beat as well. He beat him more impressively, but Grant Dawson, of course, never got nearly TKO'd. You can't give Grant Dawson a ranked opponent. You can't give him like a huge fight right now because he just drew to Rick Glenn, who should have been a walkover for him, and that's not a good look. But one thing I want to mention, Grant Dawson, what does he need to work on right now? And what does he need to prove to us that he's worked on before we can trust him beating top contenders and trust in the hype of Grant Dawson again? Cardio. He needs to prove that he's got the pace to go 3 rounds, and Clay Guida is near him in the rankings and will test your fucking pace. So if Grant Dawson has made the improvements to his cardio, he will be able to last the distance, if he does go the distance, against a guy like Clay Guida. Big test for Grant Dawson, perfect test for Grant Dawson, and a jump up in competition for Clay Guida, and the winner of that one can get a ranked opponent just at the bottom of the rankings in the lightweight division. Maybe the winner of this one can get the winner of Riddell versus Moises, or something like that. Moving on to another fight, Chris Curtis ruined a middleweight prospect again. Moving down to welterweight against Alex Morono. Winner of that gets a ranked opponent at welterweight. We can't have these welterweights ruining all the middleweight prospects. He's not a welterweight. He's 34. He's not big enough to be a top dog in the middleweight division. He might have a chance. He's not a middleweight, sorry. He is a welterweight originally. He's just been taking all these middleweight bouts on short notice. His career is at welterweight. That's what he is. I've even heard him on a podcast say that he was thinking after his win against Phil Hawes to go back down to welterweight, get his diet right, and make a run in the welterweight division where he truly belongs. He got the call against Brendan Allen on short notice, and he just said, yeah, I'm in. I'm all in. No pun intended. And he got the job done against Brendan Allen, but he's not committed to the division, really. Move him down against Alex Morono. They both got wins on the same card. Put them on a February card or a March card next year. Winner of that can get a ranked opponent or someone who's a big name outside the rankings in the welterweight division. I think that's what they should do. You can't have these welterweights killing off all your middleweight prospects. The middleweight division needs to be completely isolated to succeed. They need to take on other shit middleweights to succeed. That's just how it has to be. The middleweight division is so fucking dog shit. You can't have smaller guys coming up. They'll ruin all of them. They'll kill all of the division. It's just how it'll go. So if you want middleweight prospects, you've got to get rid of these fucking welterweight skilled guys because they're actually good at fighting, and have the middleweights fight other bum shit middleweights. So Chris Curtis, Alex Morono, good matchup, similar skill levels. Maybe Chris Curtis wins that one. I reckon he'd KO Morono by the way that Morono's been throwing punches recently. I could see Curtis getting a KO win. Very winnable matchup for him. And if he wins that one, jump him into the rankings at welterweight. He's 34. He ain't got much time to waste. Let's get him this win soon next year and then jump him right into the rankings and see what he's got. Moving on, Manel Kape got a big win over Zhalgas Magulov, and I think he needs to turn around immediately and fight Tim Elliott. He wants to stay active. Mentioned it in his post-fight interview, or even in his post-fight press conference that he did, his interview with like MMA Junkie and stuff. I think he mentioned something about wanting to stay active. He's been active all this year. I think he's fought 4 times in the UFC. One against Alejandro Pantoja, one against Mateus Nicolau, who he should have beaten but got robbed against. His more recent wins against Ode Osborne, and now his more recent win against Zhalgas Magulov. And then now you got to give him Tim Elliott, a ranked opponent. Number 11 in the world. Going to move Manel Kape into the rankings. I think Manel Kape should be ranked somewhere down the bottom of the flyweight rankings. If you give him the win against Mateus Nicolau, he should be a fucking above Mateus Nicolau in the fucking flyweight rankings. But he's got some momentum. Let's get rid of Tim Elliott, is basically what I'm saying here. I think Manel Kape would pretty easily beat Tim Elliott. It's a tough matchup, but I think he would pretty easily beat Tim Elliott. So Let's do Manel Cap, Tim Elliott. Get rid of Tim Elliott for now because he's an older guy and we don't need him in the flyweight division with his ugly ass record. Manel Cap versus Tim Elliott. Get rid of that old fuck. Moving on to nothing. That's all of the matchups made. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.